Hello and welcome back again to Gospel First. And today we're going to be focusing on Acts chapter 27 and 28. Have you ever watched something in your life fall apart and there was nothing that you could do to stop it? You had no control, there was no clarity, just uncertainty. Well, that's where Paul is. And what happens next will reset how you think about trust. So let's begin. So to set the stage, Paul is on a ship to Rome. There's 276 people on board, and he warns them in verse 10. He says, the voyage is going to be disastrous, but they ignore him. The pilot and the owner disagree. And so here's a little insight. Notice that expertise is valuable. Majority opinion feels safe, but neither equals revelation. So to continue, at first everything looked fine. There was gentle winds, smooth sailing. Then suddenly a violent storm hits and they lose control. Now I've heard someone say that I've had seasons where everything looked right. The opportunity made sense. The early signs were positive, but something inside wasn't settled. And eventually it unraveled. That's when he learned that momentum is not the same as peace. As we continue the story, the storm intensifies. They start throwing things overboard. Cargo, equipment, supplies. They lose visibility. Everything they thought they needed. Then this line in verse 20. We finally gave up all hope. That's not just physical. That's really emotional. Now here's a turning point. God speaks. In verse 22, Paul says, not one of you will be lost. Now eventually the ship breaks apart completely. But every person survives. So what's the key principle here? They lost the ship, but they kept their lives. Now in life, you're going to face moments where something breaks. There's a plan or a direction, an expectation. And your first thought will be, this shouldn't be happening. But if God said you'll make it, then you will. Even if the structure doesn't. In closing, think about this. Sometimes God doesn't save the situation. He saves you through it. Jesus lost everything on the cross, lost reputation, security, physical life. But through that loss came your salvation. So here's something to reflect on today. What storm are you in right now? What are you holding on to that God may be asking you to release? So that's it for today. Thank you for staying faithful to the journey. May the Spirit continue to fill your heart and draw you closer to Jesus Christ. If your heart feels even a gentle nudge, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share so that we can spread the gospel of Jesus Christ together. And I'll see you next time as we continue our studies in the book of Romans, chapter 1 to 3. And it's about a truth that most people don't like. Until then, God bless.